This one is very interesting because this man, Joseph, he got away with a lot. And he was really smart. He was really tricky, that his crimes were thought to have been done by 3 different people rather than one guy. And he got away with everything for about 45 years. 45 years. But when he was finally arrested, he just seemed like this old, frail grandpa. He kind of looked like a toad. Like, you're like, him? That toad? Was that toad? Many people were like, could this guy really be guilty of so many rapes and murders? But aside from all of that, the publicity surrounding this case, it's exciting to talk about. I don't know if exciting is the right word. It's interesting to talk about because it kind of gives us hope that even when you think a case has gone cold, we can eventually, hopefully one day, get justice. Technology is changing and evolving and moving forward every day. And it's like, hopefully these shithead murderers out there can't hide forever. In a perfect world, you know? I try and stay positive. Okay, so who is Joseph James Deangelo Jr.? Wow, that is a name. He was born November 8th. Ew, he was born today. Ew, that's creepy. Oh, God. Well, he was born November 8th, 1945 in Bath, New York. He was Joseph and Kathleen's first child, and he was the oldest of 4 kids. He had 2 younger sisters and also a younger brother. His father was a sergeant in the U.S. Army, so they ended up moving around a lot. At one point when Joseph Jr. was a young child, they were stationed in West Germany. That's when he witnessed his 7-year-old sister being raped by 2 airmen in a warehouse. I don't know, like, the follow-up, like, did he scream or say anything? I don't know, but this was mentioned because it obviously had a very lasting impact on him, and it was pretty traumatic thing for his sister to experience, first of all, and for him to witness. So it just kind of had this imprint on his brain. It's so sad. This world is so gross. But unfortunately, that wasn't the only case of abuse in the family. One of his sisters claimed later on, like in an interview, that Joseph was abused by his father while he was growing up. But Joseph never said that. But yeah, so pretty much not a great upbringing. Just sad. Poor kids. I have to do a different foundation because that one was just cracking on me. It's so old. I think it's expired, honestly, but anywho. So later, the family moves back to the United States, and from 1959 to 1960, Joseph went to school in Rancho Cordova, California. In 1961, he was in high school, and he was on the school's junior varsity baseball team. And in addition to like doing whatever normal teenagers did in the 1960s, Joseph also had some less than ideal hobbies. Oh, I forgot to mention in the beginning, we're going to mention everything today, like animals, abuse, murder, rape, okay? Just a little FYI. Most kids who are a little off usually start with doing weird shit with animals, right? That's what Joseph was doing, okay? He was in high school and he was committing robberies, which was weird because he'd break into people's houses and just steal random shit. And then he would just kill a bunch of animals by blowing them up. Extreme. Jeez Louise. All of these are not great signs that he will be a contributing member of society. I don't know if his parents noticed or what, because apparently not, because we wouldn't be here right now if his parents noticed. So he would go on to get his GED in 1964. And after that, Joseph joined the Navy. And he would end up serving for 22 months during the Vietnam War. And he was like a damage controlman, which was basically like an emergency repairman. He would come home like a very decorated veteran. He earned a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, and a Vietnam Campaign Medal. Well respected, and also, this is just an opinion, but he was probably super messed up from seeing some shit that went down during that war. I mean, a lot of them were, you know, so sad. In 1968, Joseph decided that he wanted to be a cop. Oh no. Yes, he did. He's like, I want to be a police officer. So he ends up going back to school and he got his associate's degree in police science. And then he even graduated with honors. So then from there, he went to Sacramento State University to get his bachelor's degree in criminal justice before going to the college, another college for a police training. So like, Great. You know, the smart ones are the scariest. He would go on to complete his 32-week police internship. And he would go on working in the burglary unit. I can't say burglary. Burglary? It just sounds so cartoony when I say it. Maybe not. Anyways, everyone seemed to really like this guy. Of course they did, right? That's how it always goes. Everyone's like, wow, he's such a great guy. He's like serving the community and he was great at his job. He seemed to love it. So on the surface of it, it kind of seems like the robberies he committed as a kid maybe influenced him to stop other criminals because he had the mind of a criminal, you know? And he's like, oh, I'm gonna stop them and make this community a better place. Like he's getting on the straight and narrow. But once again, we're here, so of course that's not the case. But actually, it might have been more about learning how to better commit a crime and like how to get away with it. If you can't beat them, join them. He's working from the inside. So at first, Joseph's love life seemed pretty normal, right? Okay, in May of 1970, he got engaged to his college girlfriend, Bonnie. As time goes on, Bonnie realizes that this Joseph guy, her fiance, he's not as great as she thought he was. As time is going on, she's noticing that he's more controlling and he becomes abusive. There was one time when they went hunting together. Technically, it was like an illegal area where you're not supposed to hunt, but I guess Bonnie didn't know that. But they rode on Joseph's motorcycle out into the area, right? The two of them. So when they were ready to leave, the two hopped back onto the motorcycle and they headed out. Well, I guess at this time, like a dog came out, someone's dog came out of the area and like started chasing them on the motorcycle. So Joseph ends up kicking the dog, but kicks him until like the dog dies. And Bonnie was like, what the fuck was that? Like she's never seen this side of him and she was completely shocked. But I guess the straw that broke the camel's back was when he asked her to help him cheat on an exam he was taking. And that's when she decided to break off the engagement. I feel like the dog situation, that's enough to break. That's But at least she got out. She saw the red flags and she's like, I'm out of here. Of course, leaving isn't that easy when you're stuck in these awful relationships. Bonnie tries to end their engagement, but Joseph is threatening her with a gun, saying like, you're not going anywhere, we're gonna get married. And Bonnie's like, no, this is not happening. And luckily she holds her ground and she ends the relationship. She packs her stuff and she gets the hell out of there. Good for her. And after the breakup, Joseph shows up outside Bonnie's home and her dad is there. And he tells Bonnie, her dad, tells Bonnie, like, go lock yourself in the bathroom while I go deal with this creep. And to this day, nobody knows what Bonnie's dad said to him to make him leave. But after that, he never bothered Bonnie again. So thank God for him. Later, people reported that Joseph would say, quote, I hate you, Bonnie, while carrying out his attacks. What a dick. Well, Joseph would end up moving on from his heartbreak and he would get married to a woman named Sharon Huddle in 1973. So in addition to being a newlywed, Joseph was over here just being super busy. He had a lot going on between 1973 and 1986. So in order to kind of keep things organized, we're going to talk about his crimes in batches of 3. Kind of just helps a little bit, I think, because he did a lot. We'd be here for hours. My God, this man. Because in May of 1973, there was a spree of crimes happening in the San Joaquin Valley, and this was credited to a killer given the name Cordova Cat Burglar, which may or may not have been Joseph. Many think the Cordova Cat Burglar was Joseph, but it was like the very first case recorded for the Visalia ransacker. But the ransacker guy, the V ransacker, that was indeed Joseph. And that happened in the same area on March 19th, 1974. Now, at first, the attacks were super random because, okay, Joseph would break into a house and he would steal like $50 in coins from a piggy bank. That was his first hit. And in fact, for the most part, all of Joseph's burglaries committed during this ransacker phase was maybe just practice. Like he ignored large amounts of money in these homes that he's robbing, and he ignored high valued items that were just laying around the house. So it seemed like it wasn't necessarily for money. He was just doing it for the thrill, maybe, or practice. But what he did do was cause just a lot of chaos. He would break into houses. He would go digging through everyone's drawers. He would break people's stuff. He would shove stuff off of like the shelves and stuff. He would throw women's lingerie and underwear around. He would move different things to different parts of the house to where they didn't belong before. And then he would steal low valued things. He would empty piggy banks and coin jars. He would steal like historic foreign coins. And he would grab random things like a single earring or a cufflink in addition to rings and whatnot. Just like one of them, just one earring. He also stole something called blue chip stamps, which were essentially like a loyalty program for the local grocery store or pharmacy. These stamps would get you discounts on stuff at the store. So he would steal those. Guess he loved to bargain. I don't know. A couple of times he did steal some weapons or ammunition, but it like was rare. So when he committed these crimes, he would stash his car somewhere, and then he would take like different routes like of the parks, ditches, trails that he knew pretty well, which would allow for a faster getaway if he had to run from police, you know, because you can't like on a street in a car, but he could on foot. He would also pry open multiple points of entry and take off any window screens he found, leaving multiple points of escape open when he needed to get out quick. During his attacks, he also wore gloves because he didn't want to leave fingerprints. And then he often set up a warning system to let him know if someone was coming. So this would be like dishes or bottles placed up against the door or like on the door handle. So it would crash and just make a bunch of noise, letting him know it was time to skedaddle right out of there. Someone like is coming. Over the course of 20 months, Joseph committed 120 burglaries. So that's a lot. I think that's safe to say. 20 months? Let me see. Yeah, if you think about that, yeah, that's a lot. This guy's a little fucking creepy.